Hey, welcome back to Left 4 Dead Garage. It's Sunday, so I'm gonna see what I can get done on this thing. I've got a list over here. I probably should have started with the list, so let's do that. Nothing major. Power steering pump pulley, need to pull that back out. AC compressor, I'm too poor to order it, so that's where we're at on that. Serpentine belt, need to be unpoor to order my compressor, so that's holding that up. Adapt the truck gauges. I need that, meaning like factory mechanical gauges to this thing. So I got my engine coolant temp in here. Intake's still loose. I'm going to pull the factory oil pressure sensor out of the back, and then I've got one that I've modified for 1/8 pipe. But I do not, dang it, I do not have the adapter to go to the factory gauge plumbing, and it's a weird, it's called a weatherhead connector. I'll post a picture here. Shows Napa has it, so I guess I need to go Napa. I need to lay the engine harness on here and get an idea where it's going before I wire loom it, and also get an idea where I'm going to come through the firewall and maybe possibly mount the PCM. Steam ports, can't do that until the intake's on. Heater hose, I don't have any. Coolant, that won't do me no good right now. Fan controls, that's held up by the engine harness. Fuel pump wire, same way. The painless harness does not have an alternator plug, which is odd. I feel like I read somewhere that it said something about an alternator plug, maybe buy separate. Either way, not a big deal. Injector plugs, I have some injector adapter plugs around here somewhere, so I've been dragging my feet on buying those because I know they're here. Throttle cable, I need to order a throttle cable according to the internet. Pre-GMT 800, so 88 to 90, whatever, well, 96 to 2000 Silverado throttle cable is supposed to work. Throttle cable bracket, that's the only thing I've done. This was a drive-by wire intake manifold, and I've never paid attention to this, but I went out there to my Horde and I snagged a throttle cable bracket off another intake. Well, I got back and you see these 3 bolts right here, these 2 back ones, there was no thread set in there. So I happen to have some M6 thread set inserts, and so I put two in the back. I don't 100% know how well they're in there, so I didn't go full ham when I tightened that thing up. Where are we at? Trans cross member. I've got an 80E cross member in there for a late model Silverado. I don't know if it's something that I can convert to use to clear my exhaust. I really don't want to buy one. Exhaust, that's also held up by the transmission cross member, so both of those, poor, can't happen. Starter's waiting on the wiring harness. Converter bolts, I could do those. Change the oil, that'll wait. And a transmission leak, that thing is leaking like crazy all of a sudden. I think it's from the dipstick grommet. So what we get done today, not 100% sure, but we'll try to get something done. So let's get to it. All right, I swapped out that sensor for this bracket, the dash 4 line. That way I can have an oil pressure gauge just for startup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of rough this thing in here, lay it out, not connect really anything at all. That way I can figure out where I can go in the truck at. So I'm pretty set on going in the truck. So let me kind of separate a little bit of this. All right, that's fuel pump, so it's headed back that way, so we don't need it up here. All right. I believe it'd be easier if I just climb on in there. All right. So what we got here, passenger side oxygen sensor, so that can actually hang out there. This should be driver's side, so we'll just let it doodle there. Those grounds go to the back of cylinder head. What is this family? Let's see, this is transmission. That big plug I know. What is this? Okay, so this is all transmission. So we'll just let it hang out with the driver's side O2. None of that we'll use, but I will either coil it up under the truck or, well, that's probably about the only place I can put it. So I feel like, what do we got here? Cam position sensor. So there is my starting point for everything. And I will go ahead and just plug it in, just so it stays where it's at. So since that tells me the harness can pretty much I'll leave a little slack in it right there, so we're going to say the harness is going to have that much to go in the truck. But we'll just gently lay this stuff out. So this starter, it probably needs to just hang out with the passenger side stuff, because I'll run it down the back of the block and down to the starter. Originally I went across the cylinder head down the front, but I don't think I have enough. I may add to it and just run that family of wires together, which is this stuff here, I do believe. So injector 8, so that family will hang out over here. What do we got here? Crank position, that will go with starter wire. Air intake temp sensor, it's 700 miles long, and I also have to I either have to do some repinning, chop a plug or something, because like I said, this harness is for a car setup, which not exactly the same as truck on some things. So that's 4 miles long. We can actually cut that way down. Here's the driver's side stuff. So you got injectors, coolant temp sensor, throttle position, idle air control motor. So that junk, most of this will go to the front. This will go around here to the cylinder head. Looking back, probably would have been a good idea just to lay this on the motor and loom it from there, and then just accept wherever this went. So, but hey, whatever, things happen. I am no professional here. What else? So that kind of gives me an idea what I've got to work with. So I'm gonna tuck this down in here. That way we'll just say that's permanently fixed right there. I'm gonna try not to fall out of the truck. Now, that would have been a good idea just to, I think that's what I'll do. Do I have a zip tie? No, I'm out of zip ties. Need to order those. Somebody remind me of that. I'm gonna zip tie this harness to this coil bracket. That way it doesn't move, and we know for sure where we're going and how far. And then I guess it's a good idea I didn't loom this thing, because all this stuff will have to come through that hole, because you ain't getting all this through this hole. So let me grab a zip tie. We'll zip tie that, and we'll kind of get an idea where we can go. All right, so that's attached. We got slack in the cam sensor. Should have room to go all over the place for the most part. Now, I don't need this stuff separated really. I just need it out of the way, so we'll just lay it across the valley. And I got a mile to go. So I'm gonna pick me a spot somewhere, and it doesn't really matter. It's just wherever the easiest. It doesn't really break my heart to drill a hole in this firewall, so I'm gonna go inside and see what I can find. And I got a feeling we're going to have to pull this heater core and all that out anyway, because I doubt that thing's any good. All right, so I've decided that this will be my location. It appears like I have some room below the radio, or below where the radio would mount, to mount the PCM. That's still a lot of wire to deal with, so my plan is to do like a kind of loom it, head it that direction in some sort of spot, put a rubber clamp there, bring it back across, put another one here, and then run it into the dash. This is the stud for the dash brace, so that was kind of my locator, I guess you could say, from where I wanted to put this, because there was nothing right here other than some vacuum lines for the HVAC, and then this, I don't know if you can see it, but that's the hard cable for the blend door, I believe. Let's see. So I'm gonna unhook the only plug that I've got plugged up, bring it on, take it to the inside, and I got this pretty D-bird. I can probably hit it with some more emery cloth and make sure. I did not have an 1 5/8" hole saw. I had a 3 1 3/4 and 1 1/2. I figured I better try the 1 1/2 first. It was not even close to getting this trans plug through there, so I ended up marking it with something else and then using the die grinder and got that hole bigger. I don't know how far I went with it though. I never did check it, but it'll be okay. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up. We'll pull the harness in. I'll bring the harness in and then start pulling it through gently and see where it lands and what I've got to do as far as coiling that up, and then I'll pull it back out, and I guess what I can do is I can pull the harness through, kind of get an idea where I'm going, and then loom the main harness. The only thing I don't like, the fuel pump relays. Well, the fuel pump relay's fine. The fan trigger wires would be on the inside of the truck, so I need to backtrack those guys, and I may go ahead and add to the wire and then run it through the main loom and just let it hang out here or something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll loom the main part that comes through, and I don't know, we'll just see how it goes. This may be full of regret, but I don't know till I know. So all right, before I start this video, there's a 10-month gap from where I stopped and where today is. So September of last year, 24, is the last time I touched this thing. September of 24 is the last time I touched this truck, which seems wild. It does not seem, what is that, 10 months? Pushing 10 months? Or it could be dead on 10 months, I don't know. I do know the last video I put out was September. I don't know, 9-10 months ago. So a lot's changed. I'm probably fatter, more gray. The projects have changed, the shop's changed, and but just saying, there's a 10-month gap on this. So let's jump into it. Okay, back on Dirty Bob. If you don't remember what Dirty Bob is, I barely remember what Dirty Bob is. And as you can see, things have changed around here since the last video. So Dirty Bob 73 C10 that was found about 500 yards from my house. I don't know why I'm doing this intro in the middle of this old video, but anyway, so started out with a big block and Ace's EFI. Somehow or another, the big block ate itself, and well, now we're putting LS in it. It was 454 turbo 400. It's now 6-liter turbo 400. And I was going to do all this piddly stuff on the bottom. As you can see, I'm under here. Because I figured it was just low-key, non-interesting, more interesting with the wiring and making it fire off. But I'm not a huge fan of Chinese parts. They do have their place, and they do, I guess, fit into a lot of better They do fit into a budget a lot better. Sometimes you get what you pay for. I've had a lot of good luck out of imported plumbing. It may or may not go on everything I build, but as far as transmission lines and stuff like that, it seems to be working okay. That's what this truck has on it, and I actually have to do some rearranging because the headers don't fit. So back to the Chinese stuff. You get what you pay for. $50 transmission mount. The reason I went with this is because the header layout would not allow my factory cross member to have just a straight shot of exhaust. And I'm a tightwad, and I don't want to go haul it to have one side of exhaust fixed. So I bought this thing thinking, hey, this will be it. Now, I probably should have just left it alone and put that money toward exhaust. So this is not, so we're just using this number as a reference. So a 1/10 of a degree, right? So, and I went to put this cross member in. It does not come with these spacers, as you can see in here. Those are out of my junk collection because my tail shaft was lower than my pinion. Although I could put some pinion shims in it, which it probably needs, but it was massively different. So I was like, well, I'll just bump the transmission up just a touch with some spacers here, see how it goes. And then I got to looking at this, and it had my mount in a bind. So you can see we were a 1/10 of a degree, now we're 2/10 of a degree. Let's just park it right here and wait on it. Yeah, we're just a touch over 4 degrees on an angle. So it kept putting my mount, well, you can see up in here, I hope so. I don't have much of a light, or a light at all, rather. Well, you can see the gap is crooked going downhill at the front there. So, you could shim this up some more and make this unlevel to make this level, or I'm gonna take a grinder and I'm gonna slice this right here and I'm gonna bend it till it's close to the frame, and we're gonna weld it. So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Hopefully I can get everything else buttoned up under here. We've got converter bolts, got some wiring, O2 sensors, a bunch of wiring up top. Still don't have a belt or an AC compressor. I got a list up there, but need to do fuel plumbing. Put a battery in it, inner fender wells in it. So a couple of Sundays, and I should be able to drive this thing. So I'm gonna knock this cross member out and see if we can't move forward without any hiccups. All right, what I thought would take just a couple hours has taken multiple hours. Just small problems that add up to bigger problems. Nothing major though. The good old Chinese $49.99 special here, I ended up with more problems than just this thing being 5 degrees tilted after these are bolted in. So I ended up, I think I talked about this, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, spaced that up. And then this spacer right here was actually the original one I made for Pinky, and it needed more, so that's gonna go there for the moment. Dry shaft angle is still not happy. I'm going to put some pinion shims in the back, which I've got some pinion shims here somewhere, but I've not seen them in about 7 years. But on the box it says pinion shims, so gotta find them. Had to take the exhaust off a couple times. Got the starter on. Flex plate bolts are into the converter. Had to add a little washer right here to shim it out some. I had plenty of out of the pump, more than enough, and it still didn't really want to touch the flex plate, so I put some washers there. I'm gonna wait, pretty sure, like I said, it's been a while, pretty sure that is my sending unit, and I think this is from the wiring harness to the fuel pump. This harness is a little different than what I've typically used, because I usually use a standalone relay bank and run my fans and fuel pump off of that stuff. But I believe since this harness is F-body specific, I think the fuel pump has a relay already in it, and it's inside the cab. It also takes a crazy main relay that I've not had to deal with. But this was a marketplace special for pennies on the dollar, so just making do with what I got. So other than those wires, I think we're ready to come down and start on the front. Oh, I did change my, I wish I had some heat sleeve. I thought I had some. I mean, that's kind of like those pinion shims. Probably is some here, but I just don't know where. I changed the straight fittings for 45s, and it arced it up over the header, so that's much better than it was. All right, I'm gonna set it down and pick a couple battles and see what happens. And I mean, it's getting closer, but I don't know how much more of this oven I can take. We gotta get some insulation soon, and that means not working on my junk and work on somebody else's that makes money. So I'll see you up top, or I'll see you with it at the bottom, or I don't know. I'll just see you in a minute.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Oh, we're back on this dang orange C10, the Four Seasons C10, because from the beginning of this video to right now, which is Labor Day, about 5:15 in the morning, 2025, which probably I know the start of this video was 2024. We're going to get this thing going. It actually runs. It does, I promise. So, but we have a fuel leak. Well, we have a third fuel leak. We've had a lot of fuel problems. Before I went on vacation for a couple days, went to crank it, it ran on 3 cylinders. I had 5 bad injectors. This intake had been sitting on my shelf for about 7 years. It came from another project and it was clean, and when I put it on there, so that's why I chose it. We had 5 injectors, pulled the injectors, they ended up with 2 massive fuel leaks in the front, pulled the rail again. Now I have a leak on number 3. So I gave up with these dry, junky O-rings, and I've bought an O-ring kit. Part number SK71, and it comes with upper and lower O-rings. My injector fiasco right here. So I will drive this thing today's video. It will not be complete, it will not be done because the wiring is still a full-on disaster. But I will, before I drive it, I've got to wire in the alternator, so I'm going to pull all my factory stuff back around and try to hide it and kind of make it look like it's not been rammed in there. I'm going to clean all this up because I got to pull the rail off again anyway, try to hide some more of this, kind of tuck it down in there, and we'll take that factory 12 volts from the starter battery supply, my ignition, and we'll tie it into this. Also have to wire in the fans, and that's probably about all I'll do so we can run it up the road. I'm gonna try, I said this, you know, it's been so long since I even tried to edit this video. I'm trying hard to make it to C10 Revival, and I'm pretty sure that was my goal last year at the beginning of this video, and it didn't happen. So maybe round 2 is where it's at. Also gonna try to make it C10s in the Valley, Maggie Valley. There is a weird force field around Maggie Valley for me. I just can't seem to get in there. And maybe this will break my curse or whatever it is. So unfortunately I didn't charge this camera before I left, so I'm going to plug you up while I pull this rail, and then we will walk through putting some O-rings on the injectors. So see you in a minute. All right, I got a new camera mount. I don't know if this will work out like I think. Hopefully it does, because if not, then you won't see me take these injectors apart. So it's pretty simple. Pop the clip off. This rail will be full of fuel, like I was saying. Get you a little pick. I ain't gonna make you watch me do all 8 of these, or 16 O-rings rather. But pull that top one off. Should have just did this the other day, but you know, Guess I was hoping for the best. I usually spray them with something, a little spray silicone or whatever, before I put the injector back in the rail. Pretty sure, here we go. Got a little right here. So just cram her back in there. Actually, you can do it this way. Pull this thing back out of here. All right, make sure the O-ring's good. Go ahead and clip this guy back to it so it's like that. You can get it started. And you get the injector in and that clipped on all in one shot. So we'll do one more. Try not to smell like gas the rest of the day. This is 93, so it's not so bad. But it has been sitting since last year, so it's got a little age on it. Well, finally lost the prime on my fuel rail there. Now we got a leak. Throw them junk ones out of the way. I believe it's time to clean out the magnetic trays. I think I got about 4 projects sitting here in trays. Let's take your clip. Snap it back in. A little silicone on the O-ring. Sometimes these things are tough to go. Let me go dump the fuel out of this before I wear it. There we go. All right, I'll finish their other 6 and we'll get it put back on the truck. All right, several hours have went by, but I've got a lot done. Still got a little bit of wiring to clean up, like mostly some factory stuff, but I got the fans wired in. I got my main harness across there. Still need to do, well, actually that's probably not the main harness, that's the truck harness and some of this stuff. And that main harness going in behind the intake, I still need to clean that up. And that yellow zip tie is just temporary. But like all the AC stuff, and I'm pretty sure this is coolant temperature and choke wire, I'm thinking. So, but it does start and run, so. Let's see. What is HP Tuners telling me here? Oh, okay, I guess it helps if I. Belt too long. But it runs, so I'm sure it still needs a little tuning, but pretty quiet, these mufflers. These are the Flowmaster FXs, but it does get a little rowdy when you rev it. I don't know how well you'll hear it on this with my mic, but I'm gonna try to get the inside cleaned up a little bit, get the back cleaned out, and we can ease it through the neighborhood. So let me get that done and we'll get back to you. All right, we're going to attempt to run this thing up the road. It is not running as cool as I'd like to see it run. Make sure I got all my wheel chocks out of the way. They have an air bubble in it. But man, I love how it sounds revving it. I don't know if I have 100% throttle position or 100% of pedal, because this throttle cable is actually like a factory Tahoe throttle cable. But I believe I'm gonna have to put me some. I gotta be real careful because I've kicked this pink wire loose and I won't have ignition. I also don't know if I have transmission fluid in this thing. I felt like it all leaked out last time, but I checked it and it looked okay. But I'm gonna put you right there for the time being. Brakes always felt kind of I don't know what that rattle is. I got no mirror. Sounds like the flex plate's hitting something. Maybe I should check that. And I think my shifter's hitting my O2 sensor. Funny, it's not making that racket now. Actually, it is making that racket now. Let me check that out. All right, that was my cold air intake rubbing the fan because it's got some weird bracket on it. It's also not for this truck. My air intake temperatures are off the charts, and all of a sudden my long-term fuel trims, I have wheel chocks, are off the charts. Gotta be real careful about this pink wire. Got my phone, I can call somebody. It's staying at like 205 degrees, which seems a little high for a 70-degree day, but like I said, it may have air in it. I was gonna say something else I done forgot. Yeah, my shifter's rubbing on my O2 sensor. Oh, this thing still has the mini spool in it. what's whiny. Oh, you know what I didn't hook up? Modulator valve. So it ain't gonna shift. Sure is awful smoky in here. I don't have no fire extinguisher. We better get this thing back to the house. Good Lord. Gotta grind on that. Go to neutral. Try not to hit a mailbox. Sounds like something's on fire. I gotta cut a place on the intake. That way I can get vacuum. To the modulator. Alright. Definitely need to fix that shift problem. Alright, I'm gonna work on it a little bit more. Alright, well it shifts. Got a fresh oil change. I can't see the oil pressure gauge, but it's right behind you. I think I got a wheel chock still. Added some transmission fluid, changed the oil, ground on the shifter thing, put the air intake tube in it so the boot wasn't sucking air straight from the fan. My hood still won't latch. Still don't have a mirror. I'm gonna stop up here and get a fire extinguisher. I'm not sure what that smoke was from. I hooked the modulator valve up and I added some zip ties to my throttle pedal so I have 100% TPS. You know, maybe try a burnout. Let me grab a fire extinguisher. All right, that makes me feel a little better. Hopefully it'll shift now. whiny son of a gun. Oh, it shifted. Got 3 gears. The hood's like floating. Speedometer works. Best I can tell, we still have oil pressure. This thing idles low. It's like wicked low, like 600 RPMs. I need to go in there and adjust that. I mean, it doesn't really necessarily have to idle higher. Spool. A lot of smells in here. Still at 203. Maybe I need to make the fans come on a little sooner. It's a pretty good fan, but I don't know what the deal with that is. All right, let's go down the hill. I'll put you outside. That hood is like floating. I gotta figure out what's up with that latch. Or just go straight white trash. Oh yeah, that thing came up. So the safety latch doesn't work. The springs broke on the safety latch. Okay, maybe we need to go back. Ugh. Well, it ain't happy. I don't know why. It's pretty puny. But we'll work on that. It is running and driving, so that's a start. So I'm gonna end this mile-long video off right now. Thanks for watching Left 4 Dead Garage. We'll see you on the next one. Probably a little more orange truck action, but we've got to get back to the more important things like the 54 and the old ramp truck. So we'll see you on the next one.